I think we all can relate to the experience of like potentially being the quote unquote other within a group. And I think the thing I like to encourage folks to do as they approach the conversation design process is to put on the hat of like, okay, so remember how you felt in that moment where you felt like you were the other because of some variable, X variable. Now, imagine you were in a group of a bunch of people who were just like you, but there was someone in that group who wasn't for some reason, whether that's for an accessibility reason or a neurodiverse reason or a linguistic reason or racial reason, sexual orientation, gender identity, whatever, all of these different sort of vectors on your social identity and who you are. Remember what it felt like to be that other and design for that other. Even if, let's say, you don't know what that thing is yourself, like I'm in no way, very well versed in neurodiversity. So then seek out someone who's an expert on it and get them to weigh in on the experience. We have a handful of, I think, like Slack channels and whatnot and groups around neurodiversity and conversations around neurodiversity at Salesforce. And so those are the folks that I go to where I'm like, okay, so here's potentially what we're thinking of. Does it potentially introduce an accessibility constraint, or does it potentially trigger something within the scope of what we know about neurodiversity that I'm not thinking of or that my team aren't thinking of? So again, I think it's super important. I sort of see it as at best, it's a usability issue when you don't think about those those characteristics for your users. At worst, it's an equity and an access issue where, okay, now this person cannot use your product because you just straight up haven't thought about them. And from a social perspective, the equity issue is bad because now people don't necessarily have full access to the experience. From a business perspective, it's bad because you have just left money on the table as part of your total addressable market.